financial journalist Benjamin Walsh. Benjamin, thank you very much for coming to the Sunday show. Talk to us about the significance of Russia's reopening the Moscow exchange for just federal loan trading.
Right. I think symbolically it's important for the Russian government to do that. I think that it is significant, as you mentioned, that it's just federal bonds. So obviously, a lot of people in the days after the invasion were sort of wondering what is going to happen with the Russian stock market and the shares of Russian companies that are listed there. And we still don't have an answer to that. And that's something that I think, the Russian government and financial regulators don't have a solution to right now, because tons and tons of Western investors, who make up about something like half of the investors in the Russian stock market, have said we're getting out of Russian company investments and have basically decided that those assets are now worth zero and are willing to sell them for that. And so I don't see yet that the Russian government has a plan to open the stock market in a way that would be anything short of a catastrophe.
Right. Benjamin, half of Russia's assets that are currently not frozen because of Western sanctions are in gold and Chinese yuan. Is Russia's economy now reliant on China?
Well, it's very difficult to unentangle the Russian economy from Europe. There obviously, large portion of Russia is literally physically in Europe. And then, those were their closest economic and trading partners. And so to the extent that Russia is now dependent on China, it's a geopolitical reliance, and they are absolutely going to try to shift their economic activity towards China. But that's not something that can be done in a matter of weeks, and certainly not done in a matter of weeks under the kind of crisis scenario that we've seen during the war. To the extent that Russia is reliant on China, it's for short-term things like airplane parts or that sort of thing. It's very hard to ramp up, normal business trading activity on the scale that they need to in a short period of time.
Real quickly, there were reports last week, intelligence reports, that the Russians had turned to Beijing, asking specifically for military and economic help in its war on Ukraine. How likely is it that China would come to Russia's economic rescue if asked?
I think that it is likely that they will provide some sort of economic aid. I think that they're walking a tightrope, and I think that Xi Jinping is not going to be heartened by the global response in terms of the sanctions and the rhetoric that's been directed at Russia. I think that, to the extent that Russia is now something like a kind of international pariah state on the kind of scale of, Iran or North Korea, I think that Xi Jinping is going to want to weigh a relationship with Putin very delicately, and is not going to want to be seen to, effectively be bailing out Russia. Although Xi Jinping will absolutely want to, to the extent that he can, weaken the American and European hand here.